Number 82, going psychic. Going psychic. That's the subject of today's video. As always, please like it, click on the subscribe button, comment on below. All of those things help other people to see these videos. So, I have a few things to say about this, but I think it's going to be a pretty short video. So what happens, what people mean when they say you're going psychic is you'll be getting, something happens, a medium is connecting with someone in spirit, and then they switch. A few things this means. So what I've experienced as a recipient and what I've seen happen during mediumship readings is someone has someone in spirit, they're definitely communicating accurately with someone in spirit, and then all of a sudden the client or the recipient starts saying, no, that's me, or that's my hobby, or that's where I live, and they've switched. They're psychically getting things from the participant rather than from someone in spirit. That can happen, but I have to say I've also seen where someone has said, oh, now you're going psychic. Mediums do this to other mediums, and they really shouldn't. I think if most of what is coming through is definitely from someone in spirit, and then they reference something like, did you just remodel your bathroom, or have you just been for some medical thing? They're just showing that they know what's going on in your life. It doesn't mean the medium has gone psychic, that they've stopped connecting with someone in spirit. People in spirit are very much aware of our day-to-day lives, and sometimes they reference what happens in our day-to-day lives. So as long as most of what the medium is saying is definitely and can only be about the person in spirit, that's good. If I've seen in some beginner practice circles, the person who's trying to do mediumship is giving all the information is about the sitter. It's all about them, and so that's reading them psychically. I also think this is a good fraud alert. If you pay to see a medium and they're telling you mostly things about yourself, and then they'll reference someone who has passed, especially if everything is about yourself, but then they reference someone who's passed by name and certain details, and it's all sort of researchable, like on Google, that's not a good sign. But I do think it's rare. I do think frauds are rare, but they absolutely exist. For me, when I'm in a platform demonstration where I'm demonstrating for a group and I start describing information that I'm getting, and someone says, two things can happen. Someone says, that's me. That's not that you're describing me. That's to get me to the right person. Or more frequently, if someone says, I understand everything you're saying, but the person you're describing is alive. That's again to get me to the right person in the group. And then someone in spirit comes through, often connected to the person that I was describing, the living person that I was describing. So that can absolutely happen. I've heard two different people, and I think they had the same teacher, two different people have said to me or in front of me that their teacher told them, if you have to hear the person's voice, the sitter's voice, that you're going psychic, that you're not really connecting with spirit. I strongly disagree. This used to matter to me a lot in the beginning. It's not such a big deal anymore, but when I first started to do this, it was very helpful to hear my client's voice or the sitter's voice, just to connect to them. And I was absolutely getting things that had nothing to do with them. Sometimes they couldn't verify until later. It was definitely from people in spirit. But just because hearing your sitter's or your client's voice helps you, it's just a connection to them. Handling objects can definitely lead to psychometry, which is reading the energy off of an object, and that is going psychic. That's not connecting with someone in spirit. But so I've seen Tyler Henry do this a lot. I still think he's connecting with people in spirit and not necessarily reading from the object. I've said in another video, we tried this in a group of mediums practicing with each other. I passed around a letter opener that I'd had for at least 10 years that had belonged to my mom for 15 or 20 years before that she used 5 days a week where she worked. And everybody who handled that letter opener connected with my mom's parents, not with my mom. So, and I had like 60 some people in spirit. So it definitely helped their connection, and it was definitely not psychometry that they were doing. So they were not going psychic, they were doing a mediumship reading. I personally have an aversion to handling objects because you can switch to more of a psychic reading, but I have handled them and it can be helpful, so I'm not totally against it. So anyway, going psychic, is a thing. It's something to be wary of and aware of as a medium, but also as a recipient, to just watch what's going on. But I firmly believe that if most of what you're getting is information about people in spirit, and they happen to mention things going on in your life, that's just your loved ones telling you they know what's going on in your life. It's not the medium switching off as a medium and going psychic. I've just seen that several times where people are like, nope, you're going psychic. Like, don't say that to people. So there's that. That's kind of all I have to say on this subject. I know it's really short. Next week, however, so this week I did my 900th reading. So I'm going to talk about that, what the last few years have been like, because it's been kind of a wild ride and very life-changing. And so I'm going to talk about that. Until then, thank you for tuning in this time. See you next time. Thank you so much for your continued support, and see you next week.